Welcome, everyone, to Season 11, Episode 6. Yay.
What's up?
What's up? Yay. 6. Yep. And if you're actually counting, it's episode 236. Because, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lucky number 236.
6.
Woo!
Yeah. Woo. There we go. Yeah. How's everybody doing tonight?
6, so that's cool.
So,
you can close it if you want. I'm already active.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
Sorry.
Awesome. So, quick announcement. If you listen to our most recent release, which this will come out probably like a month or two later, because I'm so far behind. I did make a little change to the format. I used to like record like an intro, and I just started pushing out episodes because I was like, you know what? I already say welcome to the Willie Reads and do all the stuff like anyways every time we start a show. Like, so to try to find quiet time in my house when I'm not doing something else on non-recording nights, when the kids aren't going crazy or there's not something going on in the background, especially with construction coming, to like just to get 5 seconds to record an intro is next to impossible these days. So I can push out a lot more episodes if I just cut it out. And it's not really that important. So in case you're wondering why, like what happened to the intro, that's what happened to the intro.
We don't need an intro.
We don't need no intro. We've been doing this for so long. You know, if you've listened this far in and you still need an intro, then I'm sorry.
Problems.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's on you. That's on you. If you made it this far, I don't think many people have made it this far. It's just, it's just dropping off.
No.
People find us and get really excited, and then they're like, "Oh, I get to like reminisce through book like 5," and then they're like, "Yeah, I'm annoyed," and they don't keep going. No.
That's what happens.
I don't know if it's true or not, but we'll see. There was a comment like a while back, like I think on every single episode, like there's like a little like poll that if you listen to on Spotify, it's like, what do you think of this episode? And someone wrote, this is from like years ago too. They wrote like, what did they write? Like, what do you think about this episode? It's like, I think never to listen to this crap again.
Oh, no.
Hey.
Hey. Awesome.
Listen, the three of us appreciate honesty and authenticity above everything else. So don't bullshit us. You don't have to pretend to like us. Either like us or, go do whatever makes you happy. Yeah, it's all good.
It records on his phone and has crappy audio. So,
is it that bad? Is it really bad?
Oh, it's a little bad right now. It's a little bad, but it's not that bad.
Well, according to the GPS, we got 15 minutes of bad. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. You're good.
Yeah.
You're good, man. You're good.
That's as long as it'll take us to record this episode.
Yeah. I decided to record in this space again this week because this will be the last week, knock on wood, that I'm recording here because there'll be construction going on here next week where I'm sitting.
Right.
Yeah, the estimated time to start renovations is next Monday, so that's what we're gearing up for, getting ready. We did like a ton of yard work this weekend. I say I did a ton of yard work. I knocked down some flower boxes and we demoed the bar, and then I asked my neighbor if I could borrow his chainsaw to cut down some trees, and he's like, he's a landscaper, and he was just like, I'll just send my guys over and do it. So Sunday they came over and cut down the trees, and I was like, thanks. And the great thing about it is he doesn't charge me a dime. Thank you. Next door.
That is even better. Yeah. I need neighbors like that when I get my own place.
I know, man. It's awesome.
Hey, that means you can accessorize your podcast little nook.
Yeah. Well,
what money you saved on the trees, add more bells and whistles.
Well, this right here is going to be where I'm going to record. Like where I'm sitting right now will be exactly where I'm recording. It's just that there will be like I'll be in a little small. This will be the podcast studio. This won't be this bigger room. So
yeah.
So fun times. Trying to think of anything else that's new going on in my life. Nothing really. Just work. Lots of work. And getting ready for the renovation. Demoing a bar was fun.
Yeah.
My wife got really into it. I think she needed to take out some aggression because I don't have a sledgehammer, but I have an axe. So she definitely used the axe, which was awesome. I was like, yes. Taking out cabinets with an axe is fun. So
anyway, a little bit scary sometimes.
A little bit scary. Yeah, it can be. Yeah, she got one good whack and like the hole like came off the wall and like climbing down. Like I was like, okay, and I guess we're good here.
But did she giggle? Like when it started coming down, what was the response from her? That's what I want to know.
There was only oh shit because there is plumbing there, and we're worried about like it landing on like a pipe and then bursting a pipe, and then we would have had a bigger problem of just water flowing everywhere, and that would have been bad. But once we realized it missed the pipes, we're like, that's funny. So there was a little bit of an oh shit moment, but Then awesome. Anyway, what's new with you guys?
Ian.
So life be lifing. Not much changed on the work front. Personal life, we got the A10 basketball tournament coming up this weekend in DC. So I think Friday I'm going to take my boys up there, trying to convince my brother to come down from New York. He eventually graduated from VCU. He did the 7 or 8 year program, which a lot of people do, but they're called doctors and lawyers. He just took his sweet time getting his degree, and he finished at VCU. But the VCU men's basketball team is looking good. I think even if they don't win the A10 tournament, they're still going to have a bid in the NCAA tournament.
Okay.
And they're a fun team to watch. So, yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I guess that's about it. The whole trying to be social and dating life thing that's been interesting. I've realized recently that, so I had that like 3-year relationship. And before that, I had done like online dating, was meeting people. And I guess I just assumed it would be the same now, but there's a huge difference from being like mid to late 30s to like approaching mid 40s. Not just in the people, I guess, I don't know. I guess my perspective in life and what I'm looking for has changed. But definitely like the other folks out there to meet and interact with is very different. I won't say bad. It hasn't been all bad, but it's been different. Yeah. Y'all are probably looking for more juicy details than that, but I don't have them at this point.
Okay.
I'm realizing I'm not like 25 years old. The things that were attractive and exciting to me back then are not anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to make of that. So I'm like, before it didn't feel like starting over. This feels like starting over. Like it's a whole new script.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a good thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we're figuring it out.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's yeah. I don't know.
We always say we're not about that life anymore, and we're so glad that we found each other, and we don't want to go back to that. So even if things weren't happy, we would just be like, no, that's no.
Yeah.
We're good. We'll stay where we're at.
Yep. No, but no. I mean,
I will say I've met some very cool people along the way.
Yeah.
There's been a couple. Well, I won't share publicly and like, risk shaming anybody, but with you two, probably Alan a dash more than Chris, I've shared a couple of the horror stories, and there have been, some horror stories like danger, but only a couple, and a lot of it, just meeting some really cool people along the way. So yeah, it's all right. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy it.
Yeah. How about you, Chris? What's going on?
Let's see. Had my first weekend in a month and a half where I didn't have to work on a Saturday, which was great. Like we spent time with friends and family. We went out to movies. Like we actually had a weekend, which is freaking phenomenal. I'm so happy I did. This weekend's the same way. I don't work this weekend either, which is great. I'm actually driving to Virginia tomorrow. My grandma's been in the hospital a little bit. So I'm driving up just to check on her and see if there's anything I can do and take care of some stuff around the house and just kind of get her reacclimated to being back home after being at the hospital. And there's a few things that have been kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, not taken care of. And so I'm going to be doing that. And then driving home Saturday morning early. So I'll at least be in town for a few days, and then
hit us up or hit me.
No, I'll hit you up, and then maybe I'll hit Ian up on the way out. Yeah. If he's even in town.
You can come down.
I was about to say, I hope you do. But if you don't, on that topic, and we don't have to go on the tangent, but the accepting that within your family, not everybody takes on the mantle of the responsibility of taking care of shit that needs to get done.
Yeah.
And we don't have to go too far down that rabbit hole, but like just hearing, stuff you're dealing with, I know you know what I'm talking about. And, I won't say it's a pressure. There's a privilege to it and taking care of everybody and making sure everybody's good. But at the same time, it's a little lonely because nobody else in the family gets it,
Yeah.
and maybe you're lucky to get one other that, is willing to have the conversations with you. But I don't know, man. You're well equipped to be that guy. So your family is lucky to have you helping them.
Yeah.
And outside of that, I'm just anxiously awaiting a couple offer letters so I could make some moves. And I'll just leave it at that. So, and then like talk about blessings. I'm gonna go ahead and say it out loud on camera, on air. I have been definitely praying for some abundance and for answers for some different things. And today Chanel got a 9% increase in her pay. And I won't talk about how much that is, but 9% is absolutely ridiculous.
That's money. That's 9% better financially than y'all were factoring in before. That's a good. That's good.
That's huge.
Good. That's awesome. Breathing room. I don't care who you are. That's breathing room.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Prayers can be answered. If they're given.
And other exciting news. Wheel of Time season 3 comes out in 2 days from when we record this.
Somebody's had advanced option to watch it.
I watched the first episode. Yes, I've already seen the first episode.
Yeah, how did that happen? Like, explain that.
It was a fan. Like anybody could have signed up for it. We had it on our Discord. Really? Yeah, it was on our Discord, the link and everything. You could have signed up for it.
This is why I should start paying more attention to our Discord.
I didn't get the full season pre-screening like that some of the content creators did. I didn't get that, but I mean, this is a fan event, so like everyone that wanted to could see the first episode early. But it was live. It wasn't like you can go back and rewatch it.
I was busy with one of the very few things that would have kept me from doing that, and I was meeting up with, Alan, I told you, but I was meeting up with a couple of high school / college friends that, one of them I haven't seen in a long time, pretty much since college. And so that was like the only thing. And when Alan messaged me, I seriously contemplated canceling my plan so I could watch it. And I was like, no, it's coming out right around the corner. Yeah. Continue to, fix some of those past relationships and whatever. So I'm glad I did what I did, but I was tempted. A little jealous.
Yeah. And without giving any spoilers, String Flame, I will say, was the best so far.
Oh, no way. It was that good?
It was that good.
You're lying.
I talked to Alan and I told him, I was like, all right, here's the thing. It's a TV show. You could spoil me a little. I'll let you use your judgment. But give me the gist of it. And he broke it down. Chris, you could talk to him sidebar if you want juicy details, but the way he described it and what happened and in what order, man, it's moving and stuff is happening. And I'm very excited to watch it.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Good to know. Good to know.
It was good. Yep. So, yeah. So that's
we're about to find out.
About to find out.
We're about to find out if I can. I got to try in one hand back it in a tight spot without hitting anybody while podcasting.
Okay, that works.
So I'm gonna channel my skills from when I started driving, when we had those CD players that plugged into the cassette thing, when we were pulling CDs out of the visor and driving manual and smoking a cigarette at the same time.
Yep,
I think I got it.
I remember we used to do that. Yeah.
Oh right.
I think that's how
he got a little camera.
You got a backup camera. Man, don't even try to mess with us. It's gonna be hard.
I should have muted. I gave away my secrets.
I remember learning how to drive manual. I taught myself how to drive manual in about 5 seconds. Yeah, it was that fast. 5 seconds. Learn how to drive stick shift.
Why?
It was during high school, and it was blood drive day. So the Red Cross came to do blood drive, and I didn't have a car at the time. I think I got grounded, my car got taken away or something like that. And I wanted to go off campus for lunch, but I didn't have a car. And one of our friends was giving blood, and I walked into the gym, and he had just gotten hooked up, and he had put all his keys and everything next to him. So I went and just swiped his keys and went running, and he couldn't chase after me. But he was almost done, so I knew I only had like a few seconds to like get out. I got his car and didn't realize once I got into his car to steal his car. I was bringing it back. That it was stick shift. So I learned really fast how to make the thing go.
That could have happened. I'm glad that you managed to figure it out.
I might have dropped the clutch a little bit. The tires might have squealed, and I might have peeled out of the parking lot, but I was able to get there.
It was
Nakomi's
on. Hey, Nakomi.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
yeah, just started revving the engine up, just threw it in gear, dropped the clutch, and peeled right out and just went. I was like, didn't work out. Didn't work good. That was fun. So that was fun. That was high school. Long time ago. Anyways, let's talk about some Wheel of Time stuff. We can talk about this book. Yeah. You ready to talk about some books?
There was a chapter. We listened to it. There was another chapter.
There's another chapter. These were good chapters. I don't know what you're talking about. They were all right. Go ahead. Get us started. Chapter 12, Unexpected Encounters. So Madani has finally summoned Gawyn. And she's taken to this room, and she's, it's the first time she has been with the same Aes Sedai twice. I guess Benay's room? Benay asked her to perform some weaves. She does that. She does. Like,
okay, girl, you do that well. I have another question to bring to you.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I want to test your ability to think through things like an Aes Sedai.
Mm-hmm.
And she brings forth a very interesting question.
Yeah.
If you come across some information that you're not supposed to have, that other people in your Aja have, and want to know how you have, then you get stuck with punishments because you have this information. And how do you deal with it? To summarize.
Yep. Pretty much. And the Queen realizes she's talking about herself. She's like, hypothetically. Okay, so you know something cool. But she tells him from the perspective of the Aja leaders, would suggest to link amongst their most trusted membership, which should share. And Gawyn says she explains that the information, where the information really came from, and offers her a solution. Then
it should get her out of it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Are you two just gonna stick to the boring answers?
No, go for it.
No, go for it.
All right. So let's talk about what's actually going on here, what's actually being written in here, and why this chapter is pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. It kind of all came together for me at the same time, right? Think about all the chapters and all the opportunities that Jordan, now Sanderson, has taken to talk about how the Aes Sedai size each other up, and you're in charge because of power and this, that, and the other. And then, fast forward some to the Gawyn chapter, and you got the one Aes Sedai walking past him talking about how could you be the Armerlin without having a seat to sit on? Mm-hmm. And like the mentality of the Aes Sedai within the White Tower over like their entire history has not evolved, but devolved into this weird caste system and jacked up roles. And the whole purpose of the Armerlin's just been so fucked up, let's be honest, that they're losing their purpose. Mm-hmm. And Gawyn is, I'm expanding on what we talked about in the last chapter. She's not just trying to fight for who's in charge, but she is reestablishing who the Armerlin is supposed to be and how the sisters are supposed to treat each other and how this is supposed to happen. So Issue the Armerlin Is she recognized as that by everybody in the tower right now? No. Does she actually have a seat to sit on? No. She has nothing. Can she channel? No. At some point in here, like they talk about like her with the fork root not being able to channel and this, that, and the other. But now we're seeing, instead of her trying to, spread information and gain power again, she's attacked us in such a way with such humility, but also with authority and knowledge and power of mind and heart and thought, that these people keep coming to her asking for advice on serious issues. I can't help but think, I just had this conversation with somebody the other day. I was explaining to them why my deployment with the Afghan refugee thing was actually more trying. It required more of me than my Iraq deployment, and most of it had to do, and I was in Iraq for 15 months. We were one of those really long stretches during the surge. I was only at Fort McCoy in Wisconsin, which was still in the States. I could still pick up the phone and call whoever. There was internet galore.
Still podcasted.
So I still podcasted, but that was extremely trying. And it was because I don't know what the equivalent is on the officer side or if it even exists, but in the enlisted world, your E6, E7, no matter what your branch is, that's the sweet spot for taking care of people. And not groups of people. I mean, taking care of individuals and addressing each individual problem. We had a mission and I had to get people at a certain place at a certain time and have the numbers there and be able to take care of XYZ. But then each individual person under me, and I eventually was operating as the platoon sergeant for the entire platoon, each individual had relationship issues, financial issues. I had somebody with withdrawals from alcoholism that I was working with. Clashes of personality and people I had to move around and or teach to work together better. We had people fighting in the off time. Like all of these things I had to address nonstop. Like a true leader, you don't stand from a position of power and twist the arms of people beneath you and force them to do things just because you're smarter and better, or in this case with the Amerlin, it's I'm more powerful. Either it's in the power or politically within the tower. A leader is somebody that you either need to take people where they need to go or take them where they want to go, and you got to have the discernment to know which one you should lean on a little bit more, right? And you can't force them to. You have to encourage them and take care of them, like at the basic levels. So she's not just solving Aes Sedai problems. She's solving freaking human being problems amongst all these women. And so, yes, Chris, you're not wrong. These chapters were light. The next chapter, I have absolutely nothing to talk about. But this chapter, well, it didn't say much. When you add it to everything that's happened before this, it said a fucking lot. This is I don't care what happens after this. It could be, what's that Dan Brown movie where the dude tries to get all of the cardinals to scream his name so he can become Pope?
It's not the Da Vinci Code. It's
Angels and Demons.
Angels and Demons, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Good.
So my minor tangent. I don't care how she becomes Amerlin at this point. I don't care if it actually doesn't happen officially by title. I don't care if right before it's about to happen, the tower fucking falls apart. Right now, in this chapter, Chris, she is the Amerlin.
She is. I completely agree.
No doubt. Because no Amerlin before her for the past probably 10 Amerlins has actually been sitting in that seat correctly. So I say she's more Amerlin than Elida. I'll make that case. She's more Amerlin than Swan was. And whoever was before Swan, and probably whoever's before that, because they lost their fucking way a long time ago. She might be the first one in 500 years. And she's doing it without being able to channel, without even being a sister, not even being, she's novice in their eyes.
And she's being taken around to multiple people. Like after leaving Benayet, she gets taken to, was it Nagora, who asks her questions about her warder, and
I mean, it was pretty much
oppressed.
a Red Robin of her going around and helping people figure out their issues.
Other sisters. Yeah.
All of
exactly.
That. And to put an exclamation point on it, to put a period at the end of the sentence, if you were thinking, okay, this was just one or two here and there, by the end of the chapter, Sanderson makes a point to write in there that even she had the realization that, wait a minute, all day long, I've been addressing them by their names. I've been daughter this. I've not been curtsying. I've been carrying myself as I should. But as I've been carrying myself that way, I've been helping. I've been encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing everything I can to give good advice. Not one person the entire day that she walked past, came across, interacted with, gave her penance. No one sent her to the Mistress Synopsis. Right. So we got a glimpse out of a couple of interactions, but throughout the entire day, after everything she's been through, not one person sought to punish her. That's everybody that walked past her and saw her that could have accepted that what she's doing is either good enough or maybe that the punishing's not worth it. But she's made that leap.
Yeah.
People, they've accepted her.
Even the yellow sitters is like, she's like, oh, you should join the yellow because you fix things so well. And she's like, I'm Armelin already, and Armelins have no Ajas. Like, but they get raised from something. Like, they didn't correct her really. It was like, yeah, but they get raised from some kind of Aja, right? So
join us. That way we could say we had the next Armelin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And leaves again with no punishment. Yeah.
You covered a lot. You covered the first half of the chapter.
I gave you my heart on that whole section. It's up to you all if you want to go back and go through each interaction, but it's I feel like it's better as a chunk. Like that was
it was. Because if we look at the next chunk, which is where she goes to her homegirl.
Yeah, it goes to Madani. But it tells Gawyn, that Gawyn tells her that she's still the Armelin. They kind of have this little moment. She's like, you know what, you are. And then that's where Gawyn figures that she can trust her enough to teach her about how to make a gateway.
Need is the key.
Needs the key there. I know, but still, there's
some
trust
the
there.
need might have been not trust as in I trust you, but trust as in I have to trust you.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was more of a test of trust.
Right.
Than true trust.
Yeah.
But
she promises
maybe at this point.
She promises she won't reveal the weave to anyone. And says, oh yeah, put that right there, there.
It was a step in the process of earning that true trust that you could really lean on.
Right.
I'm not trying to go back to like my relationship stuff and what I'm figuring out about life and all that jazz, but if you've been burned, which Egwene has, big time. Yes. Think about it, multiple levels. She was a freaking slave, under the Shan-Chan. Anyways, we all know the reason she's been burned. And she wants to earn the trust of everybody around her. But somebody has to make the first step. And at some point, you can't just sit there and wait for all the other parties to trust you.
Right.
At some point, in order for that to happen, you have to place something in the hands of somebody that they can hurt you with it. There has to be vulnerability. You have to reach out and say, all right, this is me. This is what I can do. This is something nobody else knows. This is something I only share with a close circle, and I'm giving it to you to hold. Sure. And my hope is that you take care of it. I can't make you. It's still your choice, And anyways, so that's kind of what's happening here.
Yeah, the ferrets were sent by the Saladar 6, not Eggy. Yes. She's one of the ferrets.
Right. Right.
So, she then brings her down deep into the tower through Gateway. They travel to the other part of the tower, and there's rats in the walls, which Gawyn immediately is like, this just shows you how bad things have gotten. There have never been rats before. Like, this is just bad. Like, And they go into one of the rooms, and she's expecting, maybe to see maybe one other person, not like an entire congregation of sitters, like of sitters.
And there were 4 sitters, and they were all in different colors, which completely threw her for a loop. Because she's like, I thought none of y'all were working together, and here we are.
Yep.
And y'all are working together. This is great.
Yeah.
This is after, of course, like so kind of backing up just a little bit. We find out that she finds out that her, little wee ferret in the wall clearly has an issue with sharing information with her. Then she goes as far as saying that you must be compelled, or it must be the oaths preventing you. And she's like, well, you can't tell me. Can you show me? That's when she teaches her how to make the weave.
Right.
And then they travel, and then she's like, all right, well, what are you showing me behind this door? And then boom, 4 sisters sitting, waiting. That would be her telling us about the girl. And Gawyn just strolls on in casually, takes a seat on the throne.
They're like, what? You brought her? Like, you're insane. And then Gawyn quickly figures out that they made her swear a 4th oath. And Gawyn's like, this is insanity. Like, this is not good. Like, and, they get in a little argument about it. Gawyn's barely able to control her anger, and like, you can't just do that. It's like one step below compelling someone, and she goes through logically why this is a bad thing to make someone.
Again, we're doing it again. You're talking specifics. We're reading the words back. Chris, do you want to dive in this one, or can I? It's a quickie.
It's been interesting. I like sitting back. Go for it.
She's laying the fucking smackdown. She's armorlining the shit out of them. These are sitters. Yes. We're amplifying what I just said before. These are sitters that think they're doing something special, unique, whatever, trying to help. And they are. I don't want to knock them too hard, but they took it too far. And it's taken Gawyn to show up and be like, okay, I could see your logic in this. I can see your logic in that. What this is where you cross the line, and this is why you cross the line. And I'm all about what you're doing, but we still have to, I don't even, this might be better to just use Egwene's words when she's talking to him, but trying to preserve the respect amongst the sisters, recognizing that I don't care where you rank or what your position is, like, we're all important, and you certainly can't compel. Like, once you're doing that, you're crossing the line from using our power to the max for good to crossing the line into being, how are you different from the Forsaken? And you're dabbling into the philosophical power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Like, she's reeling them in. And what's crazy is, again, these are not just Aes Sedai that didn't recognize her as the Amyrlin. These are sitters. These are well respected amongst everybody. She's putting them in their place. And one of them tries to chirp a couple of times, but for the most part, they're like, shit, you're kind of right.
Yeah, they are. And they keep on trying to throw arguments at her, and she just has comebacks for every single one. Like, I mean, and just in a very, very logical, like,
Yes. Like, you can't argue with it.
Yeah,
and
like,
when they attempt to,
channels, like, does that power make you Armlin? No, that's not what makes you Armlin. They're like,
yes,
right.
Yes. Like, they're, and I think what amplifies that, it's not just that back and forth of them trying to put her in her place and her correcting them, and it's logically sound and everything. It's who they are. It's the fact that they're sitters. It's the fact that they're on a very the noblest of quests to try and purge the White Tower of Black Aja.
Sure.
And still, she's putting them in their place. Like, there's...
we all have better things to do. We have a broken tower right now. How about we fix that? That way we can then go fix everything else.
Yeah. And they question her authority as Amyrlin, and she says, what, Elida has authority? And then she uses logic. And she takes a gamble here. She's like, so have you guys ever sniff out that any of the people that voted for Elida or Black Aja?
This blew my mind.
Vote? And they sit there and get quiet. Goes, yep, I knew it. So it was,
which means the vote wasn't legit.
It was legit. Therefore, she's not the
If the glove don't fit,
I had
you
a
must have quit.
I had a consensus in Saladar, so of 100%. So
Who's more legitimate?
Who's more legitimate?
But all right. As great as that is, what is her biggest power move here? By example, it comes towards the end of this interaction. She still turns and charges the gray Aes Sedai that brought her there, and charges her with continuing with her mission, explaining the importance of it, and still tasking her with working with these other Aes Sedai, the sitters, because they're on an important mission. But at the same time, corrects these sitters and you need to fix this oath problem, and you're going to remove that little bit at the end, and we're going to get back to doing this right. And even though they try to be like, yeah, we'll see, like the feeling was when you walked away. Yeah. One, the gray was like, yes, mother, like fully accepting of it. Like this is the way. And the sitters were like, yeah, we'll think about it. But they know. They're putting it together.
Oh, yeah.
The real Amelin has spoken. That's my 2 cents. Yeah. Chris, you're in charge of the next chapter because you and Alan. It's an Alan chapter anyways.
This is a really fun turning point for Gawyn, just because it feels like, there's cracks with the other accepted novices inside the tower, but this is like now she's getting Aes Sedai on her side, which is a huge step in her actually being able to assert power and authority, and actually be recognized
in the truest sense, in the way it was supposed to be, like doing it the right way. Right. Is that Chris? We talked about coaching recently. You ever have somebody that like you saw the potential in them, but it wasn't quite happening, but then they lock into focusing on the fundamentals, and maybe they're not quite there yet, but you see that they're focusing on the fundamentals, and you see the work they're putting in, and you might as well call them a champion because it's only a matter of time because they're doing it right. Like this is I feel like we're towards the end of that. It's like everybody's recognizing like, shit. She's going about it the right way, put in the right effort.
Even said you are the Amelin as they walked out. Like that, it was like a light bulb click, like, wow, like I've been saying you are, but you really are. Like you embodied the spirit.
Yeah. And as the reader, I was right there with her. Because I think Egwene even like did a mental check of like, all right, like why would she say that? Like why would she?
Yeah, she said that was a weird
little bit ago. She said, "Yeah, I believe it," but now she like doubled down in like a aha moment. And I almost wanted to be like, as the reader, I did the exact same thing all throughout this chapter. I was like, I wanted her to be
right.
I wanted to say that this is the good side, the winning side, the whatever. But like as this chapter went on, it was like, wait a minute. Actually you are.
Yeah. And then we go to a Gawyn chapter.
Gawyn.
Chapter 13.
Hey, wait. The first part was good. Tell me you didn't enjoy the sword fight. Yeah.
The first part of this, Ian just left. It's like, I'm
kidding. You enjoyed the sword fight.
There is good stuff in this chapter. Yeah.
So chapter 13, an offer and a departure. And we start with some swordplay. Gawyn's practicing against 2 warders. Sleep
and that's Diesel to not be a warder and to be practicing against warders and winning like that.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
He beats them,
but he had already proved himself before this moment.
Yeah, it's the
which they talk about in the chapter.
Yeah, third time that day he beat them. And they comment afterwards like that Gawyn should have his own heroin marked sword at this point.
Yeah, he should have taken the one he earned rightfully, but he did not because he didn't feel like he earned it rightfully.
Yeah,
I don't think it was so much that he didn't feel like he earned it rightfully. I think there was enough shame attached to what he did that he didn't feel good about it. And I like later in the chapter, we touch on this. He gets some reassurance from this other warder that, hey, you're not the only one that realizes that things were effed up and how it went down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's not like he snuck up behind somebody and stabbed them in the back. I'm not a huge Gawyn fan, but I'm not going to. I don't want us to talk about it like he was a total POS and how he beat this guy.
Yeah.
It was more the way things went down was so messed up. Like he just doesn't feel good about it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, he winning the sparring match is kind of, he didn't really get glory from that. He's just like, hey, we're having good spars. I managed to be winning, but it's okay. You know, then they're like, we have other things to do. We got responsibilities. Let's go get stuff done. And what's his name? Starts with the S. I can't remember it now.
Sleep.
The warder.
I don't remember any of their names.
Yeah, he pulls him to the side. He's like, hey, I want you to be a warder with me. I want you to connect with my
Aes Sedai. Yeah.
my Aes Sedai. Like, come on, let's. She's giving
Colin's
me
like,
years
I'll
to find
think
somebody.
about it.
He's like, I'm loyal to one woman, and I can't talk about her because.
Yep.
He's like, it's okay. You'll come around.
And they do discuss about the tower splitting and things like that. And Gawyn's definitely having this internal struggle right now where he's like, I support the tower. I don't really support Elida because he's like, I never really liked Elida that much. He even says that. I came here.
He even talks about like in the moment, it was almost like a knee-jerk reaction. He's not even sure that he made the right decision in the moment.
No,
but like
he did it because he was so mad at Swan because she wasn't telling him where his sister and Egwene was and thought that, and he's like, I need to fight it because Swan was not communicating, which it's Aes Sedai business. It's none of his business that he felt entitled to it. And he took it out on, well, Swan must be corrupt. She must be corrupt. Yeah.
He made a mistake.
So, he did. Yeah. So they leave the barn. Gawyn makes his way to the village center. He notices Vasha has not been led into the mayor's house where the Aes Sedai are taking up quarters. The younglings are supposed to be watching for different Aes Sedai coming in and out, things like that. But then he sees someone that he didn't expect to see. Katarine.
Joe Mama.
Yeah. Good old Katarine.
And that's the red, right?
She's red, yeah. She was at Dumai's Wells.
She's the badass one.
She was the one who captured Rand at Dumai's Wells and was and was a dark friend, or is a dark friend. Because we talked about that when that gets confirmed way earlier. But I don't know if you remember her, but yeah.
I don't. I really didn't remember.
So remember, she was trying to get Gawyn killed after Dumai's Wells and ends up with Savannah for a while. There's like a whole thing, with Shadow, and it is a whole thing. But she escapes.
Although by the end of this chapters, I have mixed feelings about that, though.
Yeah,
because the way she speaks loudly about certain events and everything, I didn't feel like it was to taunt Gawyn. I thought it was to manipulate him to get him to do what he ends up doing.
Yes, 100%.
And I don't feel like that's necessarily bad. And unless as a dark friend, she's still trying to encourage the chaos part. But like,
I mean, there's the chaos. And he's gonna lose control of his whole little group there.
Think about it as a shadow pal. Like if you're a shadow pal,
I don't know how to think that way. So explain it to us, Alan.
Okay, so if you're thinking that way, you're just trying to create chaos. Chaos. That's all you're trying to do. So how can you best create chaos? Sow seeds of doubt to create more chaos. Like, because think about it. If he gets like all in a rage about Egwene being captured and like does something stupid and gets killed by his younglings, Elaine now has taken the throne of Andor, and now Elaine's brother gets killed by the White Tower. Now you have Andor wanting to fight the White Tower, which yes, they want to right now, but they don't know that. It's a whole chaos, creating more chaos. Like, yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm adding like what I would hope to happen anyways. And yes, she's trying to sow chaos, but this one might backfire. Like, Gawyn's still a bit of a wild card, but like if he were able to get close to Egwene and talk to her, if he were able to ally with her and like, he's a principled person. So if he just locks in with supporting her no matter what, that That's a plus up for the air quotes good guys.
Yeah.
And that's what he's marching to do.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This one might backfire on the Shadow Palace. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, so the whole scene plays out where Gawyn surprised to see Katarine. Katarine, makes a sly smile, but then actually mentions Egwene in front of him. The Elvian girl that calls herself Armelin. At least she's getting beat. We captured her, and she's getting beat. And Gawyn's like, "What'd you say?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah, we
He
caught the
jumps
false
to
Armelin."
all the conclusions. He's like, she's being tortured. We got to get to her. We got to save her.
Mhm. And then he starts thinking about it. He's like, I got to figure out a way to save her. But so he's like, I got to get out of here now, but I got to come up with a good reason to leave. He's like, all right, so I'm going to do a routine surprise inspection on one of the outposts. And, he goes and gets his saddlebags, tells, the commander of the guard. Because he doesn't, although his men really respect him and really like him, they're still loyal to the tower. So him trying to do something to rescue a prisoner of the tower is probably not going to be seen well, even by his own subordinates.
Yeah.
And he realizes that. So, yeah.
He outright admitted, he's like, I'm here for the tower until I'm not. Like, I'm really going to serve my sister, serve Andor and Eggy.
And Eggy. But now that he knows Eggy's captured and being beat, and knows that now, if they still, deposed Amberlin, what would they do to false Amberlin? Like, he's like, they're probably going to kill her. So I need to save her.
Correct.
Yeah. So
you know what's great?
Yeah.
So there's the intentionally speaking about the Gawyn situation by these Aes Sedai. They're intentionally speaking about it out loud so he can hear, to manipulate him like we just talked, to send him along his way. They're doing it like, haha, sowing seeds of chaos. This is funny. We're controlling this guy. But there's, especially the Reds, because of their disdain for men, not just men channelers, but men in general, let's be honest. And they're missing out on what power there is in the masculine point of view in this book. And when Gawyn finally goes to leave, and he thinks he's about to make it scot-free, he runs into his warder sparring partner again, who pretty much deduces everything he's getting ready to go do. And Gawyn's like, are you going to stop me? And this guy, who is more attuned to what a man is capable of, what he's willing to do, and the look on his face when he's made that decision, straight up says, you've already bested me a couple times today, and I'm looking at you, and you're on a mission. A mission so important to you, whatever it is, that you're going to kill any motherfucker that gets in the way.
Yeah.
And I don't particularly care to die right now, so I'm not going to do it. And so this goes back to I think they played their cards wrong. The attempt to sow chaos. I don't think this Red Aes Sedai, forgetting him already, I don't think she factored in. Guys, men in general, not in general, I don't want to over generalize. Everybody's so different. But guys like me, as even Chris, Chris, you and I are very different, but similar in some ways. You've mentioned before about like, you're, don't take offense to this. Like, I would describe you as a gentle giant, a soft, a loving, empathetic type guy. But I also know that at the end of all that, if it came down to you protecting your own, you standing between bad and the people you love, that you will immediately become an unstoppable force. And I recognize that in you, and I recognize that in most guys. And sometimes I think unless you have that mindset, like maybe the rest of the world doesn't get it. When I say the rest of the world, it's maybe some guys that haven't been in that type of loving relationship, or some guys that don't have children, or some guys that haven't truly loved or been responsible for other people. And then a fair amount of, I'm gonna get comments for this, but a fair amount of women maybe that don't take the time to look at and understand that perspective. I certainly try to be as loving and compassionate as I can, but when like there's a line, there's a moment of, you know, if I got to choose my family, my kids, my whatever, fucking bring it on. You know, what would you not like? How large would the army have to be for you to stand down, Chris, to protect your wife?
Oh,
It don't matter what
it
they're
don't
bringing.
matter. No, not
It
at all.
doesn't matter how many.
Mm-hmm.
That's that scene of Jon Snow in Game of Thrones where he just goes, all right, and he pulls the sword and it's him against 1,000, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that's what this guy saw in Gawyn's eyes.
Yeah.
And he went, without even knowing the full details of what you're getting ready to do, let me get out of your way. Let me step aside.
You bested me 3 times. Let me just, you know, you can have this one. This is yours.
Yeah.
Do what you do.
Yeah.
It's like, when do you want me to tell your men that you're not coming back?
Exactly.
That's what he said.
Yeah. Oh,
What type of a head start do you need?
I'm not going to get in your way now. And if you say you need 30 minutes, I'm not going to get in your way for the next 30 minutes. You tell me. You tell me how to play this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me when you want me to let them know. But yeah. Yeah. And pretty much ends the scene. Like, you know, he says farewell and he rides out. Doesn't say where, but he's going somewhere.
Yeah. I wonder how this is going to play out. Like, I'm really curious to see where does he go? Who does he like? In my mind, he goes, you know, to the camp.
What did I walk into? Oh, Iris.
You walked into the end.
You walked into the end. Yeah, that's what you did.
I was touching on a subsection of fuck around and find out. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's pretty much what it was. It was that moment.
All said and done, I'm going to jump the gun here. This is the best chapter Gawyn's had so far. He's pissed me off in a lot of other chapters and been wishy-washy.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been decisive in this one.
Between the 2 chapters, I should say Gawyn, but like I'm probably going to go Gawyn favorite character.
Oh wow!
Only because I'm worried this might be his only like shining moment, and he might start fucking up again. So I need to give it to him while I can.
Yeah,
but I can relate to a fair amount of what he's going through right now, and I love him for it.
Yeah.
And I'm not the only one. There's at least an old salty warder that's looking at him going, bro, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. The F around and find out. As a parent, that's always a tough lesson to teach kids too, where it's like, I know that happened with my 2 sons the other day. Like my youngest was like poking the bear with my oldest. And eventually he didn't hit him, but he like pushed him. And of course the youngest just starts to cry. And like my wife comes in, is like, what happened? I was like, yeah, I around and found out. That's what happened. Like, I don't know what to say. Like,
I was sure she was like, "What do I have to do with this?" I'm just
Look,
gonna
like,
your older kids can teach your younger kids discernment way better than you can because of laws.
yeah.
So sometimes you don't feel bad about it. Let it happen.
Yeah.
You've met Ronan a few times, Alan and Chris. I think you met my kids once, but Ronan, my youngest, is a good dude.
Yeah.
A large part of why he's such a good dude is he's got tons of people that love him.
Yeah.
I try to coach him and teach him wherever I can. He's never had to be spanked. I don't even know that I've ever had to speak harshly towards him. And it's not that he was born that way. It's because his older brothers step in.
Yeah.
If they see him being out of line, acting a bad way towards his mom, or acting a bad way towards me, or not doing what they've been taught, you know, because they've already learned the lessons, they straighten him out. And they do it in a way that I can't. If it involves a body slam and some manhandling because he lost his mind and made poor choices, you know?
Yeah. Older siblings are.
I know first aid. I help him out, you know, afterwards. And then I'm like, you think you should have done that? And he's like, no, I should have done that. I'm like, you do realize Ryder is 6'1", 200 pounds solid muscle. He's like, yeah, but I thought I could take him. I'm like, but you couldn't, right?
Yeah.
Like, what did we learn? You're
love it.
9.
I gotta try again harder next time.
But he's learning in a way I can't. As dad, I ain't gonna do that to him. I'm glad his brothers are.
Yep.
Yeah, we still make them afterwards, even if there was a retaliation thing, apologize to each other and make up and things like that. But yeah, we still do that. But yeah,
For sure.
Ask for forgiveness, do the whole thing. We have a whole thing that we go through. But yeah.
Well, the sidebar conversation with my older kids is about responsibility, and with the gifts you're given. If you find yourself stronger than somebody, it's not so you could tear them down. It's you have a responsibility to protect, to teach, to coach.
Right.
You don't use that strength to harm, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you get an opportunity to teach both sides of it. That don't mean I step in all the time and prevent the ass whooping, because maybe dude might have had it coming.
That part.
Yeah. I have not done the whole lesson because my kids, we don't do the whole, like they get actually punished for tattling, especially if it's something like, I ask them to come in, like say something like, was anybody hurt? Nope. Then why are you talking? Why are you telling them? Like,
for those of y'all that don't know, again, we're from Newport News, and snitches get stitches and wind up in ditches. So you gotta learn that.
You pick and choose what you're going to come to me with. Hey, if someone got hurt, that's a different story. But
it better mean something.
Yeah. So did you handle this? Yeah, I usually tell them like, hey, you need to settle this amongst yourselves first before you come find a parent. But if you don't, if that doesn't work, then and I don't condone resorting to violence. It's always, hey, talk it out first. If it's still so, like if my daughter steals something from my son, I'll be like, did you ask for it back first before coming running to me? Like, was that your first step? Was to go talk to her about it first? Because if that was your first step, you missed the first step. Like, if you can handle this without me, do that.
And that's the real right answer.
And
teaches them that basic problem solving.
And if they still don't, then come to me. I always, it's always like the 3-step rule. Like, violence is always the last resort. Like, so if someone's hurting you or doing something mean to you, try to talk them down, talk yourself out of it, do some problem solving, something like that. If that's not working, go find an adult, obviously at school, like a teacher or a parent. If they ignore it and don't do it, then you have permission to take matters into your own hands. But that's but you go through the steps first. Which doesn't get to that in our household. So anyway.
Yeah. I just hopefully they don't get confused by it, but I've never had a problem in like 2 breaths and a couple of sentences turning to one and go, you shouldn't have hit your brother, and then turning the other one and going, what did you think was going to happen? Like, I feel like those are both lessons that can be taught at the same time.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Me and my brother have only ever been in one fight, and it was because he disrespected my mom.
Oh, yeah.
One set of fight, 100%. I blacked out, and when I came to, he was crying and red, and I had him by one arm hanging from the, like, dangling. My stepdad's yelling, he's going to kill him. And I'm like, wait a second. I don't want to actually kill him. But he never backed my mom again. And we never had that problem again. We didn't even discuss it. It happened. It passed by. It was done.
Yeah. Everybody knew.
Everybody knew it was a done deal.
Of all the bus stop playground fights I've ever been in, a vast majority of them, well, of the ones that like I threw the first, it was because of disrespect to my mother. That woman has got me in more trouble. All the other ones I had no choice. It was more to, got to defend. But if I was a little bit more the first one to strike back then, I was a kid, not so much now. If somebody said something about my mama, I was always worth.
We'll just send her another red rod. It's okay.
You think that would be punch worthy, but I find that very funny.
Because I know your mom and I know she's.
Yeah.
It's different. I'm I'm like a kid to her. If I go over to her house right now,
Right.
like literally, Ian's not even home right now. I can go over to Mama Harris's house right now, and she
Yeah.
will start cooking food for me.
That's what I'm saying. And right now, I shouldn't tell you this, but she has stuffed cabbage in the freezer. She made so much last time, and nobody was there to eat it, so she froze most of it.
How we can be found is at thewheelrace.com, and
he's going to get some. Look,
anyway,
help yourself.
Yeah, favorite character, Gawyn. Yeah, Gawyn.
I am. I'm going to take Gawyn. I have to, just in case he sucks the rest of the book.
Okay. What do you got, Chris?
I'm taking the sister that finally realized that Egwene is Amerlin. I can't remember her name now.
The Gray. Yeah, good one.
That would be. Hold on, I just switched off from the chapter. It is.
She's been with us for a few chapters, and I still don't know her name.
It is Madani. Madani.
Yes, Madani, because she stood up to that whole little cohort of women. Like, well, you told me I couldn't tell, so I showed, and I stayed loyal to my Amerlin. I don't know about y'all. But I am loyal to my Amerlin, and I'm doing what she told me to do. And then Egwene turned around and said, "Hey, I hate to do this to you because what they've done to you is wrong, but you're gonna keep helping them.
Yeah,
we need you to keep going down this path.
Yeah. What they're doing is right. They're just doing it. They're going about it in a way that could be done better. But at the end of the day, they're doing the right thing. So
yeah,
you're gonna keep working with them. But you know what? They're gonna reverse the compulsion essentially that they put on you as soon as they can. And you will be commended. So in the end, she'll get her just desserts.
That's a good pick.
Yep. Next week we'll be doing 3 chapters.
Ayo.
3 chapters. Those chapter titles are A Box Opens.
Giggity.
Pops out.
A Place to Begin.
Giggity.
And In the White Tower.
Oh.
Yeah, fuck it. Giggity. Be better if it was in Tarvalon, but I'll stretch it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you might have to stretch it. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Anyway, at the White
All right,
Tower.
wait, what say the first 2 again?
A box opens. A box opens and A Place to Begin.
A box opens. This is like one of those things that the Forsaken were getting a hold of that had like stuff from back in the day in it.
I thought about the same thing.
Oh, they had the golems.
Yeah.
Or like just the stuff from way back in the day. It wasn't always golems. There was
stasis box is what they called it.
Yeah, stasis box. Yeah, but who's it going to be?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways,
A Place
we gonna find out.
Yeah. And then In the White Tower.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Have we heard from Matt this book?
Not yet.
No,
I mean we're still early.
Yeah. No, we might
You
have.
think we're going to?
No, we haven't yet. No, you're right.
It's been very Perrin heavy.
Yeah. Perrin. Yep. Been some Rand.
Well, we're due some Matt. Maybe Rand and Matt are going to collide with the Sean Chan stuff.
The red rods.
Yeah. So fun times.
Yep.
Well, anything else before we do the whole good old sign off?
No, Ian covered it all.
Yeah, I think so. All right.
I apologize, Chris, if you had more, but I felt passionate about that first chapter.
Good.
I
had to run with it.
Yeah. I'm chilled with this chapter. I enjoyed listening.
Yeah. Well, how we can be found is at thewheelofreads.com. It's a website. You can find links to all sorts of cool stuff like Patreon and merchandise. I was wearing merch last night. Now I'm wearing Color Me Rad stuff because I volunteer. I used to volunteer with that race all the time because it's fun to throw color at people, to help people with color. If you've ever been to one of those, they're fun. Color Me Rads. The 5Ks that you just throw color all over. Everybody's covered.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna make. There's some joke in there about you being racist, but I couldn't quite put it together. But it still sounded funny hearing you say all of that.
Anyway, so
I couldn't quite connect the dots. Sorry,
yeah, it's
there.
Okay, it's there. Sure. So go find us on the website, join our Discord, like, subscribe, do all the things for the algorithm, all that good stuff. And that's pretty much all I got for this week. So
until next time.
Peace.
Okay, bye.
Thank you for watching The Wheel Reads.
Until next time.
Okay, bye.
Get your Coast Guard certified life-saving
Sure.
device ready and
Sure.
strapped on.
Oh, where are we doing tonight?
What kind of strap on you talking about?